Their heart has stopped, their breathing has stopped, and if you measure their brain activity, they flatline on their brain too. That we obviously, unless they have an advance directive, such as a do not attempt CPR order in their medical notes, we will attempt to resuscitate them.
So what do they say about what has happened?
What they say is that they have a very positive feeling, they feel spiritually uplifted. All of the people that I spoke to who gave accounts of that were very positive about it, and it was otherworldly is the best words I can use. They wanted to go back there. One particular gentleman was absolutely desperate to go back there. He was euphoric about it.
Has anyone had an experience like this? Has anyone? You have?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have. Many years ago in my teens, the short version is, in my teens, I had an exploded appendix. I went in for an operation, and I remember a dream, a very specific dream, that felt, to this day, like reality. If I close my eyes, I can see where I was. I officially flatlined. I officially died. Somehow they managed to get me back to life. The dream, the short version is, I was what seemed like a place that was burning with people screaming, lots of sort of faces of anger and sort of trying to grab at me, and something or someone that was bright and shiny came towards me, held my arm. I can remember these words so clearly, "Come with me." And I remember being taken away. I woke up. I do believe now in a God that cares. I believe that that actually happened. I can't explain where I was. I believe it. I really do. I believe for some reason I was brought back to life, and I realise that some of the ladies and gents on this front row will probably dismiss this.
No, but I think they believe that you believe it.
Yeah. I believe it. I think it actually happened.
Yeah.
Can I just say something that...
Connor.
Sorry, yeah.
OK, Jackie.
Wait, on your studies, on just looking again as what is evidence, have you had people that have flatlined but then actually told you what has been going on in the physical around them, in the hospital, things that have happened?
Have you had that?
Yes.
Yes.
So how have they told you? That shows something, doesn't it?
The very first time that I encountered a patient, it was entirely unplanned. I went to see a gentleman who had been involved in quite a prolonged resuscitation. He'd been in cardiac arrest for at least 15 minutes. He was clinically dead for 15 minutes.
Yep.
And we were very pleased to reverse that process. And I went to see him. One of those brief moments, I had nothing better to do. I thought, I'll go and see this gentleman. As I walked towards him, this was a long time ago now, he had a face on him that suggested to me that he recognised me. He said, "Hello, how are you?" And he was very familiar. And I said to him, "I get a sense you understand, you know me." And he said, "Yes, I saw you at my resuscitation." And he described in very great detail the whole processes that were going on around him. And he can't have got that information from watching television, because on television it's largely inaccurate.
All right,
Yes,
OK, right.
Well done, thank you.
Right, OK. Sorry. Who wants to go first?
Tiny point.
Deborah.
It's interesting, the definition of death, and that's exactly what it is. It's a definition. Who knows what it is? It might be a semantic thing. It doesn't necessarily mean there isn't activity that we can't detect. Also, to get a good statistical analysis of that, you would have to get all of the false positives. You would have to take loads and loads of stories and see which ones of them actually didn't happen, where they thought something happened in the operating theatre where it didn't. And third of all, even if you have very, you might not have sight, but if you have something like a sound, you can make a story from all sorts of clatterings. There was one I read on Pim van Lommel's paper where somebody had had their teeth taken out and they were put into a drawer. Now, if you can feel your teeth being taken out, you can hear a drawer being opened and you can hear a drawer being closed, it's reasonable for him to have then retroactively made up a story that fits that.
Well, Chris, what about this feeling of euphoria? Could that be a biochemical? I don't know. Chris French.
Yes, it absolutely could be. I mean, whenever there's kind of physical or even psychological stress, then the body releases natural.
In any sense, if whether you believe it or not, it's quite reassuring to know that when that point comes, we're going to feel, there's a feeling
It is. I mean, I'm sure Ken will back up that there's a minority of cases where people have negative near-death experiences.
Very few, yes.
But it does happen. I mean, like this gentleman described at the beginning, some people don't get that happy ending. We're very glad you did.
Thanks for your contribution, by the way.
But I mean, the thing is...
It's good to see you here.
all of the different components of the near-death experience do occur in other contexts where we can have a better idea of what's going on in the brain.